What's up, Build Fam? It's Crazy Face McGee here, coming at you again with another tutorial on a braid. Today we're going to do the Spanish braid. It's a 7-loop braid. I recommend, if you're using nichrome or even stainless steel, sticking with something around 34 to 36 gauge so that you're not going to ohm out super low on it. I am going to use 27 gauge in the video just so it's easier to see the wire, as well as show you guys a different technique on how to start your loops. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so this is the way that I set up my loops nowadays. It is definitely easier once you get used to it than starting off trying to do it. So all you're going to want to do is start off, wrap a couple of wraps around your finger. You want it tight enough where it's not just going to pop off, but you don't want to, you are going to have to remove that, so be aware of that. From there, you're just going to take your spool, loop it over something. You're going to want to start it where your loops are going to be about as long as you want them to be. So I've got it wrapped around the screwdriver that's stuck in the vise there. Then I'm just going to go back on my finger, back around the vise. That's going to give me 2 loops, 3 loops, 4 loops, 5, 6, and 7. And to finish it off, you're just going to wrap it around your finger another couple of times. Again, I kind of didn't do this one perfectly, but that gives you the idea. Of course, when you go to do it on camera, it's going to be jacked up. So I'm going to give that a couple of wraps. Secure the wire onto the spool there. Grab my clippers. Clip my spool free. And then all you're going to want to do from here is twist your finger. Kind of pull everything out. Keep tension on it. Give it a good couple of twists. And then that's going to be your mounting point. So I've got my loops. I've got a nice, well, let me trim that up so you guys can see a little bit better. And I've got a nice little loop that I can just set on pretty much anything and have all my loops down here at the end. So I'm going to get this set up and we'll get right into the braid. Alright, now that we've got our loop set up and I've got my camera adjusted a little bit so you guys can hopefully see my hands actually doing the actions, I am going to switch camera angles probably at least once so that everybody can see what it looks like from my side of things. So the way that you're going to start this braid out is with 3 loops on one hand and 4 on the other. The operating finger, or the empty starting finger, is actually going to be your ring finger. It doesn't matter which hand you start with, but you'll have the ring finger on one hand free, and the thumb will be the only, well, the thumbs are free on both hands, but you'll have your ring finger free on one side, and then you'll have your 4 major fingers with loops on them on the other hand. The Spanish braid is a round wire braid, so that's going to be palms facing each other during the entire process. It does make it a little bit harder to capture on camera because you don't have all the wires nice and pretty laying flat. Instead, they're kind of stacked. So I'm going to try and open my palms up just a little bit. I don't really know what effect that's going to have on the braid itself, but it's definitely going to make it easier to teach the transitions. You are going to require a little bit of dexterity in your hands for this. It's not nearly as easy as the Celtic braid is, or some of the vertebraids. This one's going to require some practice to get down for sure. So the way that you're going to start is this empty ring finger here is going to need some wire on it. So you're going to take your index finger from the opposing hand to your free ring finger, and you're going to want to go through the middle finger loop. You're going to grab the top shank, the two pieces that come off. These are referred to as shanks. It helps to be able to differentiate between those if you need to do a twist. When with this one, each transition that you do, you will be twisting the wire to where the top side will end up on the bottom, or the bottom will end up on the top. It doesn't matter, it won't affect the braid if you take the bottom and put it on top versus the top putting it on the bottom. But you do need to make sure that it does have a twist in it, and it needs to be the same direction for each transition. So if you start by grabbing the top shank, you're going to want to grab the top shank on every transition that you do. So again, we're going to go through with our hand that is full of loops. We're going to go through the middle finger loop, grab the index finger loop with the top shank is the way that I do it. You're going to pull that through. Make sure you've got the twist. See, I've got the top shank here, so I want the bottom shank to end up on the top on this side. From there, we're going to open the ring or the middle finger up so that it is free by just taking that loop and putting it onto the index finger that we just removed the other loop from. This, to me, this next one is the hardest one to get down as far as transitions on the Spanish braid go. You're going to want your free middle finger to go through both your ring and pinky finger loops. I use my thumb. I'll kind of drive forward a little bit, pick up on the two top shanks of both the ring and pinky finger, so that you can kind of work your thumb in, and that's going to basically give you finger pliers to come over and grab the pinky finger loop by the top shank and kind of slide that onto your middle finger. From there, you can go ahead and tighten the braid. Then your pinky finger is going to be empty here. To free up that ring finger, we're just going to move that loop down to the pinky. That's the transitions. It's the same thing that we just did, but it's going to be on the other hand now. So we're just going to go through our middle finger loop, grab our index finger loop by the top shank, place the bottom shank on the top of that ring finger, free up your middle finger on that hand. We're going to drive that forward a little bit to create enough space to get our thumb and middle finger through there so that we can come over, grab the top shank of the pinky finger loop on the other hand, slide that over, and tighten the braid. So I'm just going to run through the transitions for it a couple of times, and that way, hopefully between replays and slowing the video down, speeding it up, whatever you need to do, you'll be able to catch that from this angle. So free up the ring finger here, going through, flipping it over, clear your middle finger through the bottom two, grab the top shank on the pinky, and tighten. Free up that index or that ring finger, drive through the middle finger loop, grab the top shank, make it the bottom shank on your ring finger, free up the middle finger through the ring and pinky, grab the opposing pinky, placing it on the middle finger, and tighten. Try and do it slow and technically incorrect by opening the braid up a little bit, but I'm not going to use this one anyway. This would probably be stupidly low and definitely massive using 27 gauge wire. Like I said in the intro, I would only really do this braid to vape it. If you were doing it with something around 32 is probably the biggest wire that I would use. I've done it with 38 and I've done it with 40 gauge. 40 gauge is definitely not going to be for beginners. You're going to be snapping loops left and right and potentially give up on the braid. So once again, index through the middle finger, grabbing the top shank, making it the bottom shank on your ring finger, free up the middle finger through the bottom 2 loops, drive your thumb through, grab the top shank on the opposing pinky, and tighten. Once you've done this braid a few times, you can start to kind of power through it, and it's not going to be one of those braids that takes you several hours to complete. Of course, the finer gauge wire, or the higher the gauge number, the longer it's going to take and the more wire you're going to need. Generally, I would start with probably 1.5 foot loops, and you can measure those out by how far your hand is going away from the bit or whatever it is that you're wrapping the wire around to set your loops up. However far that first stretch of wire is going to be exactly how long your loops are. So just keep that in mind when you're setting it up. So I'm going to get a little further with this, and then let's see if I can get a view from my angle with nothing but a tripod. Let's see if we can make that happen. Alright guys, so set these back up. I'm going to try and get you a view from my side. This is unfortunately about as far away as I can work. I know the focus has been a bit off for this entire video, but hopefully it's at least good enough that you can see what's going on. So I've got my ring finger on my right side open, so we're going to go through the middle, grab the top, set it on the bottom, clear the middle finger, push the middle finger and thumb through, grab the top shank, and tighten. Actually, let me see if I can move this back a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. So now we've got nothing on our ring finger over here. We come through the middle, grab the top shank. It's going to become the bottom shank on our ring finger. Clear the middle finger. Middle finger is going to go through the middle. I don't know why it's trying to focus over there. It's going to go through the middle on our ring and pinky. And you don't have to use your thumb on it. I just find that it's much easier to make this transition here if you do. So we're going to be all cleared up on this side. Through and over. Not exactly easy to do with a camera in my neck, basically. So hopefully you guys can see this fairly well. And of course, as always, if anybody has any questions, you can always hit me up on Instagram at CrazyFaceMcGee, same as my YouTube name. I don't always reply instantly, but I promise you that I will get back to you and help you get this 7-loop Spanish braid down. Once again, our transitions are going to be index through opposing middle, grabbing the top shank, twisting it to where the top now becomes the bottom when it's placed on your ring finger. You're going to transition the middle finger loop to the index finger to clear that up. Kind of drive both the middle finger and thumb through your bottom two loops, grabbing the top shank on your pinky. Now I know you can't really see this part, but all you do once you have it, if you kind of twist and push up, it will slide onto your middle finger. That's going to be the point where you're going to be most likely to drop a loop, is during that transition here. You can do it by just driving your middle finger down, kind of wiggling your way through and fighting it through those bottom two loops. And I find the braid runs a lot smoother and easier doing it with your thumb and middle finger as opposed to just your middle finger. This is one of those braids that the first time that you see it done, it looks extraordinarily complex until you've actually done it a time or two, and then it is no longer very difficult. You kind of got to train your fingers with braids on how to move without compromising the grip that you have on the loops themselves. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to run this probably, I might do a couple of transitions on it, enough to get a picture of it. I might just throw in a picture of a Spanish braid that I've done previously, so that it's not gargantuan in size. But there you go. That is the 7-loop Spanish braid. Appreciate everybody watching. I will be doing more tutorial videos. There's several amazing builders that do drill builds. Unfortunately, the braiders out there don't get a whole lot of love when it comes to tutorials, and it's very limited on English-speaking teachers. So hopefully this video will help you guys get the confidence to loop up and knock out some Spanish braids. Appreciate everybody watching. Make sure that you go and check out Hometown Hero e-liquid and use Crazyface McGee, or Crazyface20 rather, and get 20% off your entire purchase. Also head over to adoreeliquid.com. Make sure that you throw Dark Horse in the cart. You're going to want it. Don't even read the flavor profile. It's delicious. As well as pecan sequence, or pecan sequence, however you want to say it. Down here in the South, we say pecans. But that juice is my second favorite from her, right behind Dark Horse. Dawn makes some amazing e-liquids and does a ton in the community. Make sure you head over there and show her some love as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.